Wait, now? Oh. Alright, welcome back! And now is the part of Value Town where you get the value because we answer your questions, the ones which have the most value to them, according to the masses. So let's get started. Let's see. Question one's from Closed Guard. Asks, which meta deck has the most simple mulligan options? That's the part of my game that struggles most, and I want to avoid the problem as much as possible on a run to legend. What are your thoughts? Start with Hafu.
I think every meta deck is fine about mulligans. Maybe Druid is the most simple, but um, I really think that you should just pick a deck that you really like and that is competitive, and then you can kind of learn the matchups yourself. Every time you play against any matchup, take note of, oh, what card do I wish I had right now? And then that's probably the card you should mull for. And just write it down if you have bad memory. In this way, you remember, like, oh, he played this, and if I had this, then I probably would have won. Mull for it next time. Yay! So yeah, good luck.
Hey, thoughts, Jenna?
So which one has the simplest mulligan options?
Simplest mulligan.
Yeah, I think for the standpoint of margin of error, I don't know if it's going to get you the legend, but just margin of error, maybe a zoo deck or
Hmm.
handlock's not that bad either, mulligan wise, like pretty consistent. Um, yeah, druid too. I think those two. Three. I mean those three. But warlock, the two warlock ones first though.
Yeah, I think those were good calls. As far as mulligan comes, it's just one choice out of many, so I think it's silly to look at that as like the run to legend, the problem. But yeah, I generally agree. Druid, you're pretty much just looking for your innervate and your wild growth. The zoo, you're just looking for the early drops. The handlock, you're looking for the four drops sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of gameplay past that first decision, although admittedly it's pretty big. And some of them some of the decks do have pretty big, complex decisions.
Yeah, I mean when we had Force in it, I know Trump, you're definitely a believer in this because I'm watching you in the tournament. You were waiting on your mulligan until it timed out actually a few times. But Forsen
Mm.
was saying like he just a lot of times he's just waiting for what his opponent does. Depending on what he does there, he mulligans completely different a lot of times. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. And one of the highest voted threads on the Hearthstone Reddit right now is Mulligan shouldn't be shown until both players decided it. What are your thoughts on that, Chan Man?
I think that's fair. I mean the thing is like once everybody finds out each other that both players take that into account or one of the players take it into account, they're just going to wait for it to time out anyways. So if that becomes a standard thing and a lot more people start using it, then why not? You might as well just make it to the point where it's just fair for both. What What do you think?
Yeah, do you think that matters at all, Hafu? Do you look at those types of things?
I started to because you should, but you can make generalizations, but sometimes they backfire, right? Sometimes, like if they mull everything as a warlock, we assume it's handlock, um, because they generally have a good one drop to play, right?
Yeah.
I think someone told me that, but sometimes as zoo. Did you tell me
It's
that?
It might have been.
Probably.
It's something that.
Probably. I've heard it. I've heard it a lot, and
Mm.
I don't know if I buy it. I told everyone, you know what? I don't care. I'm always going to mull for zoo because if you don't have a good hand against zoo, I just feel like you're screwed. Whereas like handlock, you have a couple turns. But again, I'm not too experienced with card games. I don't know what the standard is with other card games, so maybe that's a good place to compare. Like, what do you do in Magic?
Magic used to have a order where you would have, I think, the first player and then the second player, and then they figured, oh, it's not going to matter much, so they just made it simultaneous. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case for Hearthstone, I think, because in Magic you don't get to know what class your opponents are, and in Hearthstone you get to you get a big hint on what deck they're playing,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
because of their face, and then each face has like basically two main decks, and based on how many cards they mulligan, you might be
Right.
able to get a
Right.
statistical
Well,
swing towards one side. So I actually do think that this simultaneous mulligan is better for Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
it's just something to implement. What's up,
So
Hafu?
sorry. So sorry. I keep interrupting you.
Oh, what's up?
But I don't remember. I'm so embarrassed because I cut you off twice.
It's okay.
Oh, what do you think about like add-ons in general? I mean, that's kind of been a thing about League with the curse voice thing. But I
Man.
mean, in Hearthstone, there's like Hearthstone Tracker. I didn't even know this thing existed. I saw it
Oh, really?
when
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't keep up with anything. I just kind of stream in my bubble. And I saw Puffin use it, and it tracks who you played, their name, their
Yep.
class, who mulled first, who went second, and they have it all. I mean, do you think that's unfair that we're able to have programs that do that? I mean, you could manually write it down, but it just seems almost ridiculous that some people have all their stats. Like, I don't know, when I play for like 8 hours, I recognize the name again, but I don't remember what deck they ran because I just recognize a lot of names. But if you're running a tracker, you can actually just look it up, right? And you can
Hmm.
see what they were
That's right. That
playing.
actually reminds me of like Poker Tracker,
Hmm.
where
Do you
you
think
can
that's
Yep.
see
fair?
people's, yeah,
I love it, but that's
where you can see people's like percentages of calling and whatnot. But that's a segue. Like I to an extent, these tracker things are fair. In the extent like I use Hearthstone Tracker for example, and it just gives me the decks that I played against, not necessarily the names, and I think that's fair. Like to an extent, you start to toe the line on what's allowed, though. I've heard of a program which allows you to actually know what cards are left in your deck as you're playing it, and I think that
hmm.
might be towing the line because that is an add-on which gives you an advantage during the game. It's all kind of a gray area for now.
I mean, you can do that manually, can't you?
You can do it manually, but it's something that takes a lot of effort. And if you just have a program telling you that, that seems to cross the line for me.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that, Shannon?
Uh, I know what you mean. I mean, I have this. It's kind of like what's allowed in a tournament. Should that be like the same setting that you have at home too, right? Laddering, and it's pretty. It's kind of. I think I lean towards like wishing that that you weren't allowed to use that. But again, like Hafu said, that if you can write it down manually itself, then that's already kind of allowed. So making yourself a tool doesn't seem that much different. But I would like it if you couldn't at least the deck thing that you couldn't do that. I actually like this tracker thing just because I just like numbers. And I know Trump, you love numbers too, and I think it's just information. Does the Hearthstone tracker make everything public to everybody on the site? I forget which site does. Like there was one site that was making stuff public at one point, so it's like you could actually see what your opponents have been playing recently and that sort of bit, which I didn't really quite love as much. But I don't know if that's the same tracker site. Do you know, Trump?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Because there's different stat trackers that you can use right now, but for stuff that's tracking your personal stuff, I think that's great. If it's a site that makes everybody's games kind of public, I'm not as big a fan of that.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
take the next question. Let's see. Pixation has a question to me. Trump, do you have any plans to join or start any teams in the near future? If not, how come? And what is your opinion on Hearthstone teams in general? My thought on Hearthstone teams, I'll take that one first, is that they're really useful. You might think that Hearthstone is a one-player game, but it turns out that as a team, and Hafu, I'm sure you have some input on this, you can get a lot of collaboration and you can help your teammates out through screen sharing or just through dealing them about what better plays are. And you do actually learn a lot and the team grows together. Thoughts on that, Hafi?
Yeah, I think it's just the collaboration. I'm really excited to see how the team things plays out as the new cards are released because right now a lot of the deck lists are exhausted. Right, you're not seeing too many new um, innovative decks because there's just such a limited card pool. But with teams, I think people will really be prepping in secret, and we'll see some really interesting decks played in tournaments. So you definitely need play partners to test, right? You have to test extensively. So I think that's a big part of it.
I think what's cool too about the teams is that a lot of them work together and test for each other. But when you get to the events, the team members they don't run the same decks. Like maybe there's like one deck that they run the same, so it's kind of cool to see how even just stylistically, all the players are different within the team,
Mhm.
and you again, you don't see like the same exact decks coming from the entire team.
Yeah, I mean, there are Magic the Gathering teams as well, and one of the advantages is that they can collaborate on deck building, especially now.
Mm-hmm.
This set has been out for some time now, so there's not as much as that, but when Naxxramas comes out, I think the teams might have an advantage. Although, like, the decks are spread pretty rapidly through the internet these days.
Very.
But perhaps in a tournament which has, like, a recent expansion, then they'll be able to bust out something really new if they keep it under wraps.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, do I have any plans to join or start any teams? Well, I'm a very cautious person, and I like to take my time and research. But yeah, there's some plans, and if I join or start a team, then I'll make sure that it is a good fit and a good value team. All right. We've got casual player next with a few questions directed to Hafu. One, do you enjoy playing arena or over constructed?
I did at one point, and I still do to some extent, just because it's more casual. You don't have to worry too much, and you can interact with chat a lot more. So, on a streamer level, I prefer playing arena. In constructed, if you're reading chat constantly, you're not micromanaging. Like in constructed, you're counting cards, right? You're keeping track of what you've played, what they've played. You know what's in the rest of their deck. They know what's in the rest of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, in arena, you don't have to keep track of that because could be anything. There could be 8 flame
Yeah,
strikes. You
that's
don't
right.
know, and you can just hang out a bit more. So, hope that answers that.
All right. Yeah, I for one hope for arena to move out of the. You said casual, and I like took a stab to my heart. You can get some arena tournaments here.
Yeah.
More of those, right? Let's see. Question two. You have played a lot of other games on a high level. Is Hearthstone the game you enjoy most out of all the games you've played?
Absolutely not. I think Hearthstone is really fun, but at the highest level, I have more fun in one, a team setting,
Hmm.
and two, again, I don't like the fact that someone worse than me could beat me, or that I could beat someone who's better than me.
The luck
Uh,
factor, basically.
yeah,
Hmm.
I don't like that because again, I don't understand it enough since this is my first time playing in something at a high level. That's not completely. It's not that it's not skill based. It is 100% skill based, and you see
Hmm.
the same people at the top. But I'm just saying, like the idea that you could just lose randomly after putting in so much work and time and effort just seems unattractive to me, I guess. But yeah, Bloodline
Hmm.
Champions definitely my favorite game that I've played at a high level. I won
She,
DreamHack for it,
she's a world
and
champ at it.
yeah, and that was like a no RNG, all skill shot game.
Hmm.
Super fun.
Yeah, it's definitely Hearthstone is definitely one where that's a draw, a positive and a negative.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, question three towards you from casual player. You are now a member of the new Team Cloud9. Congratulations. What do you hope and expect this experience will bring you?
I don't, again, this is so new. I'm super excited. Again, the roster is just so strong. I'm so thrilled um, to be on it with so many great players. I had this question kind of similar. I answered this, but oh my God, I'm so eloquent. I answered this question yesterday on stream, and someone actually, oh my God, thoughts, words, where are you?
You're tired.
Let me start again. Basically, even though I'm thrilled to be playing with them, I didn't know how my teammates felt about me because I haven't done anything really great in constructed. Like I placed pretty well on ladder, but I don't find that to be um, super impressive by any means. And it's hard to compare me to someone like Strifecrow or Kalento or Nimsh or Echo, all of them, right? And so I was like, oh, I don't know how they feel though. And someone linked me like Nimsh's comments on me on like an I Hearth You their show thing, and he just said such kind
Oh,
things.
yesterday. Yeah, on
And
turn two, right? Yeah.
yeah, and I like teared up a bit. So I'm really happy that they're happy to have me, that they believe that I can improve, and yeah, I'm just excited. Woo, team, they're a really
All
good
right.
team.
All right. And the final question from him is, are you willing to sing a song with Trump? I'm sure everyone would love that. Well, I'll take this one. We've already sung a song, but are
Woohoo!
What
any songs in the future, Hafu?
This is up to you, Trump. I don't want to bother
what
you.
song did y'all sing?
We sing a whole new world.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember that.
Duh.
I remember that. I
Oh,
remember that.
all
Uh,
right. Someday there will be
someday. All right.
soon.
Soon.
Soon, TM.
Yep. All right. On to the next. We've got Terror asking the general question of what card from Nax will mix up the meta the most. I think we've seen questions similar to this all the time, but any changes, Chanman?
No changes for me. I mean, I'm still looking forward to getting my hands on Nerubian and trying some things out with the Nerubian egg. But
Mm.
outside of that, it's just I don't really have that many opinions formulated yet with a lot of the others. I don't know. What about you guys?
For me, I think that the more I look at Nerubian Egg, the more I think that that's going to be the card which pushes Zoo to be super dominant, just because
Yeah.
two mana 4/4s, like they're incredible. You've got the Innervate Yeti, you've got the Ancient Watcher, like, and then the Owl. Those are all really strong plays, and now you've got the Egg, and every single card in the Zoo already just naturally synergizes with the Egg. A lot of the cards do, and
You
That's
can't.
exactly what Reynad said. I asked him about that at BlizzCon.
Oh yeah.
Or not BlizzCon. Shoot. PAX.
oh,
You can't clear Zoo anymore if you have a Nerubian egg
Yeah.
on the board. That's the biggest thing.
all right, that's Trump's guess for first card to be nerfed, if there are cards to be nerfed. So you generally agree with that, Hafu, or any other card?
Oh, I haven't really been keeping track of the new cards. I'm kind of one of those. I don't know. There's just unless they announce every single card, it's kind of hard to distinguish
Hmm.
what's good right now since you don't know what's in the rest, right? We only have was it 9 cards out of
Yeah.
30? So I mean, how are you going to distinguish what's
Well,
good when you don't
Yeah,
know?
it's more than 9. It's like 15 at this
about
point.
14,
Something
15.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
15 have been released? My bad
Yeah.
then.
There's a few
Okay.
neutrals like the Nerubian egg
Okay,
thing.
okay. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
just haven't been keeping up. I
That's
think
okay.
if they release them all, then you could start building decks because you know exactly
Hmm.
Yeah,
what's.
that's the stance I always have to take. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's totally Trump's stance every time we talk about a card. Well, I'll have a follow up question. Do you think silence will be a big part of the meta
Oh
once?
boy.
Yeah, my God, Tank Master will come back, I think. I mean, with the
It's
amount of death rattles and all the synergies of death rattle, I mean, if you don't deal with it, I feel like you're gonna lose. I mean, today I was watching Strifeco stream, and he played against a shaman who like played an injured Blade Master, double Ancestral Spirited, traded it into a Drake, and got 2/4/7s. Like that to me just blew my mind. I was like, what am I seeing? Imagine that with like the legendary with the double death rattle. Oh my God, you have 4/4/7 suddenly. Oh my God, that's just like
that would be sick.
the game ends. Like, what do you do
Yeah.
against that?
You know, speaking real quickly on that, that's something that amuses slash amazes me because I've always guessed like, oh, there's still room for decks, and that has kind of stirred the waters just a little bit. This kind of ancestral spirit healing
Hmm.
shaman deck, kind of interesting. Might have to watch out for it, guys.
Yeah, we've seen
Ah,
some versions of it in the past, like kind of pop up early seasons, but
I
nothing
mean,
that's stuck for a long time.
you have a lot of like really strong combos, right? But you have to
Mhm.
draw the combos, and if you have too many situational cards, you're just gonna like when it works, you're like, oh my God,
Yeah,
this is so good. Or like you have that one Deathwing that just wins you the game, and you're like, this is the
yeah.
best card ever. And then you try putting it in a deck, you're like, this is the worst card ever. Um, so like situationally, there's always going to be insane combos, but um, when you have too many dead cards, I feel yeah, you just won't find high success.
All right. I've got a question directed to me by Brawl. Asks, as someone who has a background with other card games, is there any deck style that you miss from those games? The deck style that I miss the most is, well, interestingly, well, I was always a big control player in Magic the Gathering, notably. and I really like playing blue white, black blue. And the deck style that I like the most is just very low minion count because I hated seeing my stuff die, and then just kill them at the end, like control them, kill at the end with some sort of unstoppable force. And Hearthstone actually has something like that. It's called Miracle Rogue. Uh,
Yeah.
it's also very minion light and actually pretty much is that, except that in Hearthstone you also play Azure Drakes, Earthen Rings, SI7s. But something that would be cool is no minions, although it has been stated by Blizzard that that kind of style is like not really interactive and probably won't see it. And I tend to agree with that. I like one of the things I like about Hearthstone is the interaction. Hafu, what's your card game background?
None. I lost to the
Oh, that's
tutorial.
I remember that. You sure
Yes.
have
Lost
come
the
a
Lore
long
Walker
way.
show.
No, I did
Chan,
not lose to Lore Walker. Thank you very much.
any card gaming, Chanman?
No, this was my first TCG too, and I mean I've played cards, like poker and just traditional cards, but never TCGs or CCGs.
Well, yeah, poker actually is it helps a lot, I'd say.
Yeah, it's
All
got
right.
similar things. It's easy to play, but hard, very incredibly hard to master, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and let's finalize it with one arena type question since Hafu's here, the expert. Uh, at what point, and this is asked by Sky King, should I know if my arena deck will be aggressive or controlling, and how should that affect my future draft choices? I'll throw this one to Hafu first.
I don't really view Arena as like having an aggressive deck or a defensive deck. I guess maybe I'm doing it wrong. I just kind of pick cards that synergize well with each other. So if I'm drafting and I'm like, oh, I can have I don't know, like if I have a knife juggler, then I'm more inclined to take things that make two minions. On Druid, if I have like a Violet teacher, then I want every Power of the Wild and Soul of the Forest that comes my way. I don't know, I do dumb stuff, but if you get it's the combos and constructed that kind of win, right? And so in Arena too, like if you like everyone picks value cards, so it's hard to really win a value fight
Oh,
because
that's a
everyone's
good point.
picking the right cards right now.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, you could do that and you could get away with it because everyone sucked, and no one knew what was good. People would play Goldshire Footmen, so if you pick a Yeti against their Goldshire Footmen, you're gonna win that fight. Woo! But since now everyone knows that Yeti is good, you're gonna see Yeti every time, and I don't know.
Oh man, Soul of the Forest. So you actually take that card over
I
like
went 11-3 with double
so
Soul of the
over
Forest.
decent cards or
Double
over
Soul
good
of
cards? Like you
Forest.
would take Soul
Wow.
of the Forest over those if you thought it was synergetic in your deck?
It was synergetic. I won so
Well,
many times. I had a million trees.
all right, let
Just
me
trees on trees on trees. What are they gonna do? What are
all
they
right,
gonna
so
do if Soul of the
Trees
Forest makes
on
three trees
trees
every
on
time?
trees.
but
Oh
let's
my
put a bit of
god.
perspective. Would you pick it over like not the greatest card like Yeti, but would you pick it over like Silverhand Knight, Shattered Sun Cleric, Bloodfin Raptor?
Depends on the rest of my deck, but probably. And it's more fun. And again, it's kind of those value swings that you don't see anymore because everyone's just getting better. There's like arena site. I mean, didn't you make a site or something?
He's,
I don't know.
he's got
With
guides, like lots of guides.
yeah,
From,
so if people are taking those guides, everyone's gonna be on equal footing, and there's only so much you can do better than the other person in arena, right? Like,
yeah.
if you don't take those swings, one, it's less fun, and I don't know. That's the way I feel. But obviously, we draft very different decks, Trump.
It's very true. I'll address how you draft differently, but Chairman, any arena? Any
No, don't
thoughts?
even ask me about arena.
All right,
Like
no arena
terribly.
on you.
In fact, I wanted to have one of you guys on Pro Corner to do arena coaching one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, you've got two of the best people to ask.
that's
in
true.
this game.
Exactly. Exactly.
For me, I have a very different style, like Coffee said. I don't think I would ever consider Soul of the Forest in any deck. Period. Uh, in I certainly wouldn't take it over Good Card. I did release a value list, and I'm one of the people who probably follows that list the most. The only times where I will go off of the list is when the mana curve calls for it, or if something is just so pressing. But I find it, I'm one of the probably the fewest people who will draft for a synergy or combo. And most of my decks just end up as a result mid-rangey and just pure value, where my cards tend to be good overall.
Yeah, you have a good turn every turn.
Yeah.
You'll do well. Woohoo!
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
it's cool that you can have two different approaches and still have a lot
You
of
can have
success
like
in both
10
of them.
different
Exactly. So
approaches.
it's kind of cool. Like Crip, I think has a different approach too than you guys, and whoever else. Who else is actually really? Who else in the community is known to be top arena player?
Doesn't Guardsman Bob do pretty well?
Oh, does he? I didn't know Guardsman Bob was super good at
I haven't
arena.
really watched the stream, but from my understanding, he does well.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
And I think Eggy is plays arena a lot, and he like does double arena. Again, I haven't really watched much of it, but I imagine that he's a good arena player.
Okay.
Masan, right? A little bit. I don't know how much arena he plays anymore, but at least back when I
Yeah. It seems like most of the players are transitioning over to constructed
yeah, I
these
was gonna
days,
say
so,
I don't even think of myself as an arena player anymore. I play constructed
yeah.
all day, every day.
cool. Well, good show, fellas. Let's wrap it
Yeah.
up. ChanMan, got any shout outs or? Oh, yeah, shout outs.
Yeah. Shout outs to, of course, you guys for doing the show today. It's always a blast to hang out with you, Trump, each and every week, and then Hafu, always our friend, our buddy. It's great to have you back on. It's been a while since we had you on, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last
Wow.
time? Was it the interview? Was that the last time we had you on?
I was in my old at my place in
Yeah.
Boston, so before February.
Wow.
Wow,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
a
We
long
gotta have you on
time.
more often. That's way too long. And big shout out to again all of you guys for watching the show each and every week. And hopefully you guys continue to watch the show, and you can catch the VODs a little bit later on youtube.com/ChanManV. You can follow me on Twitter too @ChanManV.
Cool. Hafu, you got any shout outs? I'm sure you've got a few.
Shout out to Cloud9, my team, my manager, just all of them, and my sponsors, of course. And thank you to Chairman for having me on his show. Thank you to Trump for being an awesome host today. Woo! And thank you for all my fans, all the supporters. Thank you, Army. Woo!
Yay, Pingu. I'm actually one of the recent additions to the army,
Yes.
OMG Army. And finally, as for me, I'd like to give a shout out to Forsen for during the last weekend. I basically learned Miracle Rogue by watching and streaming his videos of him playing, and that's just something that I really encourage people who want to get better to do. Watch other people who are good, and then take your time. Like sometimes if you need to pause, do it, and then talk through what you would do during your moves or during their moves, and then what you would do, and then see if it matches up. Once you match up a really good percentage, then you're going to be around their rank. All right, but that's going to be pretty tough. And of course, big shout out to Hafu for joining a great team. Congratulations. And
Thank
we'll
you.
wrap that up. All right.
Alright.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Value Town. And with that, I, Trump, your host, bid you goodbye.
All right. We'll see you next week. Later.